And what sold us was the interior woodwork, obviously outside design, which is very unique.
It was love at first sight for Mark Huck and his wife Nadine. It was her birthday, and what better present than a new home, one with such a vibrant past.
It's been fun over the years to sense that continuity from the very earliest days, you know, up until the folks that sold us the house.
Huck and his wife bought the house located on Queen Anne from the Gowie family in 2000. Through the years, they've worked hard to maintain the integrity of this historic home, which was built in 1891.
So you don't usually see a tree on a map.
But even before it was built, the land the home sits on was well known. There used to be a famous tree here used for powwows by the Duwamish tribe and as a landmark for ships.
The early ships that came into the Sound used the tree for navigation. So you can imagine amongst all these towering cedars, there's this one that actually sticks out. So it must have just been phenomenal.
The tree was eventually cut down to make way for the home. It's now called the Ankeny Gowie House, named after its former owners. The current owners, the Hucks, received historic landmark status by the City of Seattle in 2008, and just recently the City Council passed an ordinance designating the landmark.
It's an outstanding representation of an architectural style, which is shingle style, which there are very few of left in the City of Seattle. And it also meets that, what I call urban design criteria, where it's prominent within its neighborhood or the city.
Beth Chave works for the Seattle Department of Neighborhood's Historic Preservation Program. She oversees a group of volunteers who make up Seattle's Landmark Preservation Board. They're the ones who decide what is and what is not worthy of official historic landmark status.
At the minimum, a property has to be at least 25 years old. And it also has to have integrity. And what integrity means is it basically has to have enough of its original material left to convey its importance and significance.
The landmark also has to meet at least one area of significance, which could include a connection to an important person or event, cultural significance, or unique architectural details. And there is a lot of great history in Seattle that's now being protected and preserved. There are more than 400 individually designated landmarks in the city of Seattle, in addition to 8 historic districts. But not all of them are buildings. There are boats, green spaces, and even clocks, as well as a hat and boots.
We have objects that are designated, about a dozen street clocks, individual street clocks, and one of the more unusual landmarks that nobody else in the country has, the hat and boots, which is now the centerpiece of a new Seattle park in Georgetown.
So how can you have your historic landmark recognized? First, apply for the nomination, but be prepared you'll have to have lots of documentation. The application is reviewed by the Department of Neighborhoods, and then the Landmark Preservation Board makes the final decision. The City Council then can pass ordinances affecting incentives and controls for the landmark. It's a lot of work, but it is well worth the effort, especially for the owner.
If we're successful in working with someone to get a building landmarked at the local level and hopefully at the state level, perhaps on the national registry, that opens up a different set of incentives for that building owner. And it could be a difference in their property tax assessment. It could be access to different types of tax credit financing for the upgrades and the improvements they want to make to the building. Those two things can be really helpful.
Seattle City Council member Sally Clark is passionate about seeing Seattle grow while protecting its historic past at the same time. She says in the last 8 years, the council has worked hard to be proactive with historic preservation more than ever before because of its great importance.
There are a couple of reasons that it's important for city government to be involved in this work, and one of them is more obvious than the other. One is that we rely on city government and state government in some cases to protect and to regulate and to say, no, we want you to explore other alternatives before you tell us you have to tear this thing down.
And it's that type of protection that gives residents like the Hucks peace of mind, to know that in Seattle, the past will always be protected, even when we're gone.
The sense of history, you never read about it in a history book, but just the fact that it represents a slice of all of Seattle history, I I think makes the house very interesting.
If we don't pay attention, if we take our eye off of historic preservation, we lose those buildings and you never get them back.
Watch CityStream Thursday nights at 7 on the Seattle Channel, or get video on demand and podcasts anytime at seattlechannel.org.